Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. The final high-profile heavyweight bout of the year has been taken away from fans with news David Haye has sustained a freak injury while working out. That of course has seen his December clash with Tony Bellew postponed. In this video I'll cover off the statements and responses from the major players involved, the response from other boxers to this news, and some thoughts on Haye and his career in general. First though, the man himself, David Haye, his statement, he has put it on social media to explain what has happened here. He says, "I'm devastated to announce my much anticipated rematch against Tony Bellew has been postponed until March 24th or May 5th, 2018, subject to scheduling. Despite the recent injury rumours, I was in perfect condition with an incredibly strong training camp, currently weighing lighter than I have for more than 5 years. I couldn't wait to get back in the ring. I was ready to rewrite the ending of the Haye-Bellew saga. Unfortunately, after a freak accident during a stair conditioning session, which I've done hundreds of times before, I lost my footing, slipped, and instinctively grabbed the banister to stop myself falling down the stairwell, and in doing so, managed to damage my bicep. This afternoon, I underwent a procedure to repair it. This was pretty straightforward, and my doctor and physiotherapist have no doubt that I will not only make a full recovery, but will be able to be back in the gym to start my arm rehabilitation in 2 weeks. I would like to apologise to Tony and all of Team Bellew, as well as our fans who have been left disappointed. I've been solely focused on this fight, and it's extremely frustrating that I couldn't finish 2017 with just my ring performance doing the talking. I look forward to getting back into training and into the ring in early 2018 with excitement and determination." And Matchroom, which promotes Tony Bellew, it has issued its own press release on the matter, which included Bellew's response. "I'm gutted that the rematch with David has been postponed, both for myself but more for the fans. I've had a tough camp with a lot going on in my life, but was ready to repeat my win from March. I'll get over this disappointment over Christmas with my family and will be straight back into camp for a new date. It's a big disappointment, but as always, I leave my career in the hands of Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing." Now this is a real shame, as many of us wanted to see the rematch just to see if Tony Bellew could win against a healthy David Haye. Not the one-legged version that we saw the first time around when Haye ruptured his Achilles tendon. But there are some fans out there who actually think that Bellew, regardless of the Achilles tendon, even if he hadn't have injured it, that he would have beaten David Haye, that he could have gone the distance, could have potentially got a points win, or even stopped him late on. And obviously that injury, it turned that fight. So we'll never know because it's in the books, and we were expecting to have this fight next month. But now we will have to wait. And so while the encounter has been postponed to either March or May, it hasn't stopped a few prominent boxers offering to jump in the ring with Bellew, Tyson Fury among them.
This is Tyson Fury, aka the Gypsy King, undisputed, undefeated Ring Magazine heavyweight champion of the world. I just heard David Haye pulled out against Tony Bellew. I'll be ready, willing and waiting to fight Tony Bellew May 5th. O2 Arena, London. Like I said before, Tony, you want to fight a real man, you want to fight the best heavyweight in the world, the heavyweight that beat everybody else, the heavyweight that never lost a fight, the real heavyweight champion of the world, and we're ready and waiting. They call you the Bomber, I call you the Bellend. Be no contest, one uppercut, ceiling job. If you think you can do any different, prove it wrong. And you can bring your mate as well, with Dosser David Price.
Dillian Whyte, who is part of the Matchroom stable and has previously engaged in some verbal sparring with Bellew, has even offered to take on Bellew next month, saying in a tweet, "Let's not let the boxing fans down, Eddie Hearn. I will fight Bellew in December and beat him up even without a proper training camp." Whyte even went to the trouble of digging through his old tweets as well to repin the one that he originally posted in March, in which he was beefing with Tony Bellew. So seeing on screen here. There has also been some other chatter online about WBO champion Joseph Parker potentially stepping in to take on Bellew next month. Myself, I don't really see that happening, and the prime reason is Bellew is not ranked by the WBO, so I wouldn't actually see it happening. But in terms of it, Parker is going to comment on the matter at a media event he's having tomorrow. And given Bellew's statement, it does sound like he may just wait for Haye and the rescheduled event. Eddie Hearn, he might have other plans, but we shall see. And given what's happened, I've already seen on social media and elsewhere that some people are already willing to write off David Haye, that they think he should sail off into the sunset and call it a day on his career. I don't actually see that happening, and primarily because of money. The money that is involved in this fight. It's a big money fight for Haye, and if you believe the rumours, Haye probably would want this cushion that this money would provide. And if he wins on the rescheduled date, it would invariably probably set up a decider, which is more money again. But that obviously depends on the result in either March or May. But I think if things go Haye's way, he would be willing to milk things for as long as he can. In terms of Haye as a boxer, this injury just proves again, for me at least, that his body is slowly betraying him. The more miles that he gets on the clock, the more likelihood that he will get injured, and more frequently, rather than actually being in better condition and not getting injured. I personally felt, even though he was winning some rounds back in March against Bellew, and that was before the Achilles injury, he didn't really look that good. Some will probably say, well, he was actually carrying an injury into the fight, not the Achilles one, something else. And that's fine if you think that. But even if he was, that actually serves to illustrate my point. He's getting older, he's picking up these injuries, stuff that he wasn't getting 5 or 6 years ago. He isn't the David Haye of old. This is not prime David Haye anymore. This is the back end of the career, tail end of the prime, maybe not even the prime anymore. And remember, a big part of David Haye's repertoire is his athleticism. It's actually a hallmark, and that goes for both attack and his defense. If you start to take that away, he becomes a very different prospect to face in the ring. A much more beatable opponent. And when you consider the current state of the heavyweight division, with all the tall timber floating around, remember David Haye's not a huge heavyweight. What is he, 6'2", 6'3"? I don't think he will be able to just simply adapt and sort of lean back on his boxing skills, as some fighters do the older they get when their athleticism starts to fade. The explosiveness and the dynamism that he had in his prime, that was his ace in the hole. And I had expected Haye to beat Bellew in this rematch. But given the new injury and the potential wait of another 6 months before they meet, I'm starting to think that maybe the younger man in Bellew will actually have the edge, potentially have the measure of the 37-year-old David Haye. We'll have to see. We'll actually have to see if this fight goes ahead. What do you make of the Haye injury? Has it altered your thinking in any way about who will win next year between Haye and Bellew, should in fact the bout go ahead? Should Tony Bellew entertain talk from other boxers who are lining up to face him? And is it time for David Haye to call it a day? Or do you, at least like me, see him going through with this next fight no matter what? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.